What's going on, everyone? This is Corey with Xbox Tavern with another review. Today I'm looking at SCHiM, as I'm pronouncing it. SCHiM is a new 3D platformer that is unlike any other platformer you may have played before. You play as a SCHiM, which is kind of the soul and spirit of an object or a living thing. And you very quickly learn that in this game, you have lost your connection to your person in this example, and you need to find your way back to them. Now, this happens over the course of a lifetime, and at the beginning, you get to be with your person, and in a very beautiful way, this game tells a story without words, without facial expressions, really, and you get attached to your person. So it really does become your mission to find them and reunite with them. Now, to do that, you as a SCHiM need to 3D platform your way back to them. And this happens over the course of a lot of levels. You never seem to get close enough, or you get close enough, but you never actually make it there. And then the next level will take you onto another environment, another time in life for your person as you kind of watch from the back. But the way that this platforming works, which makes it unique, is that you can only jump in the shadows. So it's a shadow to shadow jumping game, and you have basically 4 different camera angles that you can pick from. And obviously, depending on where the light comes from, depends on how the shadow is angled, how big the shadow is, and if some angles completely don't work for you because there is no shadow that way. So you have to really think about how you're looking at the game, and you're going to be switching that angle around in order to not only get to the end of the level, but maybe explore around the world to get to other areas that may have collectibles or that are telling little side stories around. Now, not to make it sound too shallow, but that is the main gist of the game. It's a 3D platforming game where you have to jump through shadows. Now, they do ramp up the difficulty, although it never feels impossible, introducing moving targets, so you can jump to another person's shadow and they may be walking across the street. So that's going to help you get across a longer distance where no shadows are. There are going to be levels that you have to replay, but in the nighttime, and you can't just jump to a dark area. You can only jump to a shadow that's being produced from a light source. So it's really interesting how they evolve the gameplay of SCHiM. Also, you'll come to find out very quickly that you can interact with different objects and beings, living things, as you attach to them temporarily. So, for example, if you need to cross a street and there are no people crossing or no cars coming by, you can jump into their shadow really quick. There might be a gate that opens and closes. If you jump to that gate and you interact with it, that will send it down to close, meaning the shadow is now more perpendicular to the street, allowing you to cross it. So that's just one example. There are other examples where you're actually maneuvering things as you are in their shadow. So really cool concept, really beautiful storytelling. Again, no facial expressions, no words, and the colors are kind of, each level has its own palette of colors. And it's usually like a couple of different shades of, a certain color. So it's really artistic in that aspect. The game is accepting and available to a lot of skill levels. Now, there are some jumps that may seem a little hard to get to. And if you're playing in regular difficulty, you can actually miss the shadow and you'll get like one extra jump. So you can kind of use that to your advantage to make an extra long jump more capable. Or if you happen to miss your shadow target and you have to quickly jump back, you can do that. Now, that said, if you do miss or you land in the light and you are kind of warped almost instantly, it's very fast, to a checkpoint object. And in most cases, those happen pretty frequently. You can actually see the objects. They kind of have like a different outline to them. And those are kind of like your checkpoint objects or your respawn objects, if you will. And so if you want to get somewhere and you can't quite make it, you might have to try it a couple times, but usually you're not very far away from that point. So that's always a plus in platforming games if there's a quick restart to those levels or to, a part of the level. And this game has that. So thumbs up for that. But yeah, that is the game SCHiM. It's only made by 2 people, so really well done and very interesting. If this looks at all up your alley, give it a go. I can't really think of negatives. Like, the game seems to execute on what it wants to do very well. The only thing that kind of came to mind as I was playing it is there's a lot of levels, and it does kind of get repetitive because that's what you're doing, is the same thing as getting from an ambiguous start point to kind of a general end point. You know the object or person you're trying to get to, but the way to get to it is not always a straight path or something like that. And that kind of, I mean, it gets old after a bit. So maybe if there was less levels or there was something a little more different in the gameplay, I would have preferred it a little bit more. But still, it does its platforming job really well. So if any of this looks interesting, I do encourage you to give SCHiM a try. If you aren't on XboxTavern.com already, be sure to go there, check out my score for the game as well as our other reviews. As for me, I've been Corey. I will see you in the next video.